The second portion, we're going to talk a little bit about stand. How do you stand? Well, there are multiple ways that you can stand that you feel comfortable with to throw a strike. Some people like the traditional way of the lead foot is the opposite hand of the pitch. So if you're left-handed, it would be your right foot. And if you're right-handed, it would be your left foot. There are some people who like to have the lead foot be the same as their throwing motion because that feels comfortable to them. So for if you're left-handed, be your left foot, and if you're right-handed, it would be your right foot. Some people turn to the side, and the reason why they may turn to the side is because they can hide the ball, and then it comes out. You want to stay in an athletic stance. You don't want to get too far spread out because it doesn't let you have any drive forward, or it doesn't allow you to have a very stable drive. It may feel stable as you're standing, but you won't be able to have as much velocity, even though we're throwing under pitch and it's really, really slow. Sometimes you can change the speeds just enough to get a hitter off balance. So I like to keep my feet just outside of my shoulder width, or if I'm here, just outside as I'm moving forward in that forward motion. Okay. Stay on the balls of your feet and not on your heels, because when you're on your heels, you're a little off balance. Now, if you're on your heels when you stand, it can feel like a tripod and it can feel very stable. But then when you go to pitch, you're really off balance. So to create balance, get on the balls of the feet pretty athletically and stand however you want. Some people release off one foot. Some people are really, really moving around and they're jumping forward as they're connected onto the mound. And some people like to step almost like a wind-up motion and step and go. I personally don't like that one. And the reason being is unless you're really deceptive in your arm speed, then you're going to look like a batting practice pitcher. And that's really the easiest way to get a hit, is if it feels like it's batting practice. So next, we're going to move to the draw or the delivery motion, okay? And that can be different for everybody, okay? But that delivery motion, you want to feel like you're coming back just a little bit, not leaning back. But you want your center of gravity to be over your belly button, okay? And then when you come forward, when you finish, you want to finish with balance and in a motion where you can control yourself and then set up to become a defender. Now, the higher levels, you may jump into a hole and catch a ball off the shin. You may catch the ball, or you may pick the wrong hole. But make sure when you're in that forward motion that you have an opportunity to set yourself up so you can become a defender or sometimes get out of the way. So now that motion, that throwing motion, you want to feel loose, sometimes tight. That is where this practice is, where you can develop something that is comfortable to you. Now, what may work for some people where they're really, really loose and fast, and some people like to move really, really slow. Whatever can create that consistent motion for you to throw good strikes, that is the way that you should start for the foundation. Now, I'll give you some tips on that. So when you're moving in that motion, your elbow and your wrist are going to move gently, okay? But the biggest lever is going to be that shoulder, okay? And when you're moving forward, you want like a pitching motion and a pitcher balance, drive, and right as it lands, they throw. For softball, it's a tad bit different. And if you slow something down, you will actually sometimes see somebody release. And when they release, their front foot is in the air by just that much, sometimes that much, but very gently, and then they catch themselves. And that's what stabilizes that ball to be able to get the pitch to go in the direction they may want to. Now, some people like to land and pitch. When you land, if you land with that front foot, And pitch, if you've seen inconsistency, try this. Right as you land, the pitch has to release, or you can go in a motion that is the ball comes out and then you land. So it's going to look a little like this. I'm going to show you two different examples. So this is the one where you land and pitch. I missed. I wish I could show that. It missed. Now I'm going to show you where it release and land. Strike. And I move the bat. So for me personally, I'm not a stand and pitch guy. I am a mover. So if you see that motion, slow it down, screen record this and slow it down. I'm release, stand. And that is my jumping motion. And some of the best pitchers across the country, they do that. And some of the best pitchers across the country are here and they're stationary or they're here. So it's not a one size fits all for everybody. So as much as you hit 300-400 hits a week, when I first started pitching very silently by myself, I did 300 or 400 pitches a week, trying every different thing. And now we're going to talk about grip. Okay. So grip, probably one of the most important things that you can learn as you're utilizing this. And there are, again, 1,000 different ways that you can hold this softball to manipulate it to be able to create different spins, different trajectories, different speeds, different heights, and the ways that it moves to try to just get that hitter just a little off balance so your defense can do their job, or you can get an easy out or a strikeout or whatever the case is. Yes, I know this is under pitch and they play this game at family picnics. They were just playing one right over there and it's under pitch. But at a very high level, there are some great pitchers out there that do a phenomenal job at getting some of the best hitters across the country out because of the way they manipulate the ball. And so grip, pressure points. I really watched a lot of people in my younger days and I'd ask them questions. Obviously, talk about the greatest pitcher of all time, Andy Purcell. His hands are like mitts, right? They're really big. So he holds the knuckleball a little bit different than I do. And that's all he really threw. He never threw anything different. Rarely threw a four seam. Home run derbies he did, right? So his pressure points are different. Me, I have pitches that move this way, this way, this way, this way, this way. I'm like Harris from Major League. I'll do anything if it'll give out. And I have a knuckleball, but I hold a knuckleball a couple different ways. Really tight and also really soft. And I also release it with my wrist action to get the ball to hopefully somewhat go to the right, go to the left, go up, or go straight down. And it really is a lot about release point. So grip for the basic forcing. There's a couple different ways you can hold it, but you always definitely want to hold it across the seams, just like if you're playing baseball across the seams. Okay. Now this way, I like to hold it evenly in my hands here, and sometimes I'll hold it where my middle finger and my ring finger here. Sometimes if you don't have big enough hands, you may not be able to hold it there and create it, and it'll go off left or right. So if you find that this is uncomfortable because your fingers aren't long enough to go around this ball like this, or you can't hold it comfortably and you get tired really fast, instead of holding it like that, spread these two here, your thumb and your pinky, and just hold it nice and even there until you can get it to spin in your hand. Easy. Now I'm rolling it off my fingers and my wrist is moving ever so gently. Wrist action is a must. It's a must. You're always going to move your wrist every single pitch, no matter what you do. Have wrist action. Every single pitch is going to have wrist movement. Every single one. Now, when you're working on throwing strikes for the very first time, if this is your first time, pay close attention. Get all the balls you can and go half the distance, 25 feet, and find out what works for you. Okay? If you have a partner putting the balls in a bucket, it's going to make it a lot easier. And just work on throwing the same height, what you feel is about anywhere between 6 and 10 feet, and try to create the same trajectory and land right behind the plate every time. That was one. A little bit to the right, feet away. And I really look at that spot that I'm trying to hit. There's a 3. You're comfortable at 25 feet, move back another 10 feet to like 35 or maybe 40 until when you finally get to 50 and you're hitting 10 to 12 in a row, then you can move to the next portion, which would be high, then low. Okay, so throwing super high, then low. You can listen to the bounce in this video and the timing of it. All you're doing is high and low at this point. Now you're throwing strike consistently from the mound. You're just going high. Then you're going low. Now, if you notice, I was right on the plate. My finish is something that you all have to work on. You have to hold the finish. Some of the greatest pitchers, if you see them, they hold a great finish. And when you hold that great finish, you throw a strike. Okay? And when I see a lot of pitchers, when they pitch, especially new ones, they do this. And that's very inconsistent. So if you see yourself go this and it comes down, it's very inconsistent, or they're falling and they're a little off balance. Have balance. When you finish, hold it like somebody's taking a picture. And you'll throw a strike just about every time. That was deep. Now, once you got the high-low down, we're going to go fast and slow. So worry about the same height right now, and fast and slow. How do you create fast and slow? Pressure points. The tighter you hold on to the ball, the less rotation it's going to have and the slower it's going to be. The looser and the more spin you create on it, the faster it's going to be. Now this one's going to take a little bit of practice, okay, which is why it's after you've learned how to throw strikes, learned how to throw high and low, now you're going to go fast and slow. So you're going to see fast, spin, I'm holding it nice and loose. Then watch slow, I'm going to hold it nice and tight. I'm going to take the rotations out of it. Did you hear how long? I'm not going to time it, but you can see it on your own, okay? You can see how fast the ball comes, then how slow, okay? One more example here. Try to get back just a little bit. So fast, right on the bat, then slow. See the difference there? The difference is enough to try to get a hitter off balance, because that's what you're trying to do as a pitcher. Just get them off balance a little bit. Some of the really great hitters, they can identify those pitches and they can hit it really, really well, and that's okay. It's awesome. You just have to learn how to move the ball, which will be in a different video. This is just the basics of pitching. So we're going to summarize it really quick. Stance, right? A nice balance, balls at the feet, whatever feels comfortable to you, okay? Light on those feet and hold a good finish. Then your motion, it's got to flow. You got to breathe. Don't hold your breath. Be smooth. Exhale when you pitch. Breathe in, breathe out. And just work on it. And be flow. Flow. I'm turning to the side here. Flow. Hold the finish. Lastly, pressure points, wrist movement. Okay, make that ball spin as fast as you can with a good wrist flick and good pressure points on your fingers, and then hold it really tight and take it off, or don't use your wrist as much. Take the wrist off and see how long it took for it to get there. And then you have, I'll do it again, the fast. Listen to the sound of when it lands. Okay. Just that little bit of timing difference could be all the difference between a home run and an out, or a ground ball, or a base hit. So lastly, I'm going to go right back to the grips, and I'm going to show you pressure points. Pressure points. Wherever that ball leaves last, that's where that ball will spin from. So for me, I like it to leave my fingers last, and I hold the ball a bunch of different ways, something that you can work on after you master the basics. Okay, I throw a two seam that goes this way and a cutter that goes into righties. I throw one that spins this way and goes straight down, and then I throw one that goes deep and tries to get them when they're diving forward, then one that looks deep but falls short. I'll try anything. I mean, it's underhand. I can only do so much. And do I feel like I make a difference? Sure, but I'm only making a difference if I'm involving my defense behind me by throwing strikes. And that's the name of the game, throwing strikes. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe to this channel. Share with your friends. See you all in the next video.